Not be fooled by the inflammatory title or the video length. I really don't care about FD or stages in general. I really don't. And I'm sorry for calling you all bad. What I do care more about is a unified rule set. So this was proposed recently, and there's a lot of, let's say, disagreement about some certain things. One thing that I saw a lot of disagreement about was Final Destination being a starter. This is probably going to be a pretty long video. I don't want it to be too long, but I just want to talk about how it's really not a big deal. It is not a big deal at all for FD to be a starter. Stages in general are not a big deal. I just want us to get a unified rule set so that we don't have to deal with the BS of going to attorney and checking what the rule set is every time. Oh, is that stage legal? Oh, what's DSR like? What are the starters, right? Makes it easier on competitors, makes it easier on TOs, makes it easier on spectators, right? So instead of going to your side, which is impossible because you, the viewer, could be many people, right? Like if this video gets 100 views, when I say you, that could be referring to 100 people, and you guys all have differing opinions. So it's impossible for me to get on all of your sides because you all could have many different sides. So I'm just going to try to get all of you onto my side. I want to show you guys why FD is fine and you're all just bad. So let's start at the beginning of Final Destination, FD, right? What is Final Destination? What makes it a stage? Why is it even called Final Destination? This right here, this is the first iteration of Final Destination that we've ever seen. Look at this, it's beautiful. It's a straight line, that's what it is. And I want you guys to think about the why. Why was this used as the stage for the final battle in classic mode of Smash 64? You could say it's called Final Destination because that's literally where we go for the final battle. You could say it's Final Destination because it is the place where you settle something once and for all, right? This is where you and your opponent go, no holds barred, and just settle it in Smash. Right? There's nothing getting in the way. There's no possible restrictions here. This is the simplest stage we could possibly get. I want you guys to think about what the simplest stage possible is. Here, I'm going to bring up Paint. So if we think shapes and we think dimensions, there's a one-dimensional shape called the dot, right? This is what it looks like. Can you play Smash on a dot? We could see. We could see if we can do that or not. So this video is of Brawl's stage creator, and it features falling blocks. If you were to look at a singular block, like right here, this little dot, we'll call it, do you think Yoshi could fit on there with someone else and have like a reasonable fight? I don't think so. I mean, sure, they could fight, but I don't think it'd be reasonable. I feel like no one would know what's going on. No one would know who the winner could be. It would just be total chance. And I do have some thoughts about chance in Smash. That's for another video. But let's just say this makes it so much of a gamble, so much of a complete toss-up that it's no longer a game anymore. You might as well be playing a slot machine. You might as well be playing a scratch-off. Like, this is a ridiculous game where you have no influence on it. Right? Just like scratch-offs, just like the spins at the casino, right? Slot machines, that's the name of it, yeah. So, what about 2 blocks? Could 2 blocks be enough of a game, right? Enough space for you guys to reasonably have a game? I mean, I still don't think so. Think about moves in Smash that exist, right? There are many moves in Smash that take up a lot of space. For instance, Fox side B. If you ever played Melee, have you ever side B'd off the stage? That's something that I've done. And I realize if the stage were just these 2 blocks, I don't think there's ever a location on these 2 blocks where I could side B and not die, right? If you're Fox and you're in the corner, you can side B, well, let's say the corner of FD. If you're in the corner of FD as Fox and you side B, you'll just go to the center. You'll be fine. You won't fall off the stage. There's enough space to cater to your move. That's important. The game is designed around these, right? Around this space and around moves. Fox on a 2-block stage doesn't work. His side B does not work. You will just die every time you use it. Same for Falcon side B in Melee. That thing falls off the stage, and then it's over. That's your stock because you didn't have the space for it. So we need more space. 1 dot is not enough. 2 dots are not enough. We need a line. We need a long enough line. Okay? Long enough line. And that space needs to be enough space to cater to both people. The minimum amount of players needed for a game to happen, right? You can't just be alone and have a game be made in Smash, right? The game is a fighting game. It's 2 people fighting each other. So that's where the game is. So we need a space large enough to allow that. So this is I think the simplest shape I could come up with for a game of Smash. And it's just FD, bro. It's just a straight line. You cannot get simpler than that. Straight line, 2 edges, that's it. So with FD being the simplest stage, I think by definition, there's like no problem with it at all, right? That is the bare minimum for a fight that you can have in the game. You can add more things to it, though. We could call these a lot of things. We could call these elements, stage elements. We could call them dimensions of play, right? Let's go 1 step up. Hollow Bastion. It's the same exact thing as FD, except it has a platform. This adds a new dimension to the game. This is suddenly another place for you and your opponent to play the game from. And it impacts the game in more ways than just you guys being able to land on it, right? Like, it affects projectiles, it affects items, it affects hit stun, right? You could be knocked up onto a platform and now suddenly you could like tech on the platform. You could slide off of the platform. You can drop from a platform. You can't drop from FD. You can't drop from the main stage of a stage, but you can drop from a platform. It's a fall through platform, right? So this is an element. This is a new way to play the game, a new dimension of the game. Not only dimension of like shapes, but dimension of how you can play the game and how you can gamble. Because, like I said earlier, I still think Smash is gambling at the end of the day, but we have influence on it. Whatever, that's for another video. A platform is an element. Another dimension, it's a complexity. When you add a thing to a stage, you're making it less simple. So that's a complexity. Opposite of simple is complex, right? We can add more complexities. Now we have 2 platforms. Now we have 3 platforms, right? We could add more complexities. We could have 2 platforms and now the stages are longer, right? And the platforms are higher, right? We could have 2 platforms and we could have them even farther apart from each other, like so. And we could also have a wall that extends from the edge of the stage all the way down. More and more complexities. We could have moving parts to the stage. Town and city, right? First of all, 3 platforms, already tying for the most amount of platforms that we've seen from a stage so far. Battlefield had the most. Town has that, plus these platforms go high up and off the stage, plus these platforms move away from the stage, and then we get 2 new platforms. This thing, Town, could have up to 5 platforms. Not all at the same time, but there are 5 different ones, right? Super complex, and they move, right? Complex stage. Like, there's a point during the transformation where Town and City becomes a walk-off. It's called getting stretchered, right? You could be standing on the platform, and then you could literally walk, or just stand there, actually, and the platform will take you to the side blast zone, and you could die. That's complex. FD will never have that, because it's so simple. Okay? So, this isn't to say Town is bad or anything. I'm just saying, what is it, right? Town is just a complex stage, where FD isn't. Battlefield is more complex than FD, right? So, why would someone like FD? One thing that was mentioned a lot in the rule set post, in the unified rule set post, was people disliked FD because it is a polarizing stage. That's like the most common sentiment that I saw. So I asked more about it on Twitter. Hey guys, can someone explain to me why FD is bad? Polarizing. A lot of people hate it because it benefits certain characters too much. Biggest reason people dislike is disadvantage, is the hardest on any stage. Basically, shit gets harder for some people. Some people like it more than others. FD tends to favor one character a lot more than the average stage, right? So, let's talk about why. What about FD, with it just being a straight line, enables certain characters to do better than they would on other stages? Well, I said earlier that FD is the simplest possible. It is the one with the least amount of elements. I think this is all just objective. And because of that, the people with the simplest game plans, the most straightforward game plans, are the ones that do best on FD. This is just my theory, right? So if we think simple game plans, what's more simple than being Luigi and grabbing someone at 0 and taking their stock? I can't think of many things, right? Characters with simple game plans like Luigi and Kazuya type characters, 0 to death characters, you can't get simpler than that. There's also another kind of simple, where there are characters that have a move or moves that cover the whole stage, and they've got great reward on hit. So like, for instance, I think of, let me pull up the video that I want. I think of these two characters. I think of Sonic and I think of Samus. These are characters that have ball moves, coincidentally, that both go across the entire stage. And if you're in the crossfire, you get hit. And, well, if you actually don't get hit, let's say you avoid the move, then the character that shot out the move is usually fine, right? So that's super simple too. I could be Samus in the corner shooting balls out. And if you get hit, awesome. And if you don't get hit, then I'm usually fine most of the time. If I'm Sonic, I could shoot out my ball, which is me. I will spin dash from the corner, go through you. If I hit you, that's awesome. If I hit your shield, still awesome, because now I just get on the other corner of the stage and do the same thing again. Super simple stuff. Simple characters are the ones that do best on FD because it is the simplest stage. It has the least restrictions. It has the least amount of things that get in the way of my simple game plan. If I want to touch someone as Kazuya, nothing stops me on FD, right? There's no platform for someone to go to avoid me touching them, right? There's no platform for someone to go to avoid me shooting a ball at them. No BS. So I think a lot of us already understood that part inherently, right? A lot of these people talking about polarization on Twitter already knew about Kazuya's existence. They already knew, and here's an example. Really wanted to show this one. Here's an example of Kazuya's simple and consistent game plan of just he touches you and you die, okay? This is a match that was won in 4 interactions. This is just one grab, and that's his stock. And then one electric that could have been the stock, but he actually got mixed up on the DI, so then he had to win one more interaction. And then it's the stock. And then all he needed was one more grab, and boom. That's a JV4 in just 4 interactions. 4 neutral wins, right? All it took. And FD enabled that. Thank you, Skeleton. So, what was I talking about? Right. So a lot of people already knew about Kazuya's existence. A lot of people already knew about Samus and Sonic. Let's try to categorize these guys. Let's call them one-trick characters. That's not to say that Sonic or Kazuya can't work on other stages, like PS2 or Town or whatever. That's just to say that, if possible, they may want to choose FD over every other stage just because of its simplicity, just because it gives them the easiest out, right? We've seen Kazuya do 0 deaths on Battlefield, right? Like, he could still do them on Battlefield, it's just, it would be easier if it were on FD. Sonic can still spin dash the whole match on Battlefield and Smashville even, it's just way harder. So let's talk about what the opposite of a one-trick pony character is. I feel like it's someone like Fox, Melee Fox. So Fox is someone who can work on FD, right? Fox has chain grabs on FD. Fox has wave shines on FD, but he can still do those on Battlefield, and he could still do those on Yoshi's, and he might even benefit more from these other stages because he can access the other dimensions of these stages better than other people can. Fox is a fast faller, good jumps, right? Falco, we could consider Falco kind of a jack of all trades because he can access the verticality of a stage better than other characters, right? He can full hop and go to the top platform of Battlefield instantly. Sheik is good vertically. Her short hop goes to the platform of I don't know if it goes to the side platform of Battlefield or PS1 or both, but whatever, right? Like, there are some things on other stages that, like I said earlier, we can play these games of platforms, we can play these games of moving platforms, we can play these games of walled stages, and we can attempt to win at all of these. There are some characters that would prefer, or maybe are just good at everything and would like to play every dimension. Maybe they prefer other dimensions that are not on FD, or maybe they're just good at every dimension, including the FD dimension, including the dimensions present on Battlefield, including the changing stage that is PS1, right? Like, some characters like the tree on PS1 more than others. Fox loves it more than others. That's why I perceive him as a jack of all trades. He does like FD, but he abuses other parts of the game better than everyone else can. He abuses platforms better than everyone else can. He abuses the ledge better than everyone else can. Well, maybe not Puff. He abuses the tree better than everyone else can, right? And here's just an example of Fox showing off something that he can do with an added dimension to the stage, right? He can use platforms to extend full-ass combos and get kills that otherwise would not have been possible or would have been different looking on FD. Melee Fox is a jack-of-all-trades character in my eyes. And another example of a jack-of-all-trades character is Meta Knight. Meta Knight in Brawl, right? Here, look at this. This is an important comment from Charles. He's about to say some real shit.
Diddy, Meta Knight, a very exciting matchup to watch in my opinion. Both these characters, Diddy controls the ground where Meta Knight can control the air as well.
Diddy controls the ground, Meta Knight controls the air. In a way, he actually just described a one-trick pony versus a jack-of-all-trades. He described Diddy, who is a character that loves FD and loves it because he's a one-trick pony. Not to say that he can't work on like Smashville and whatever, but I'm just saying, like, to put it as simple as possible, if it were FD, he just gets banana infinites easier on that stage than any other stage, right? Diddy had 2 bananas in Brawl, by the way. He could just toss his bananas from the corner, and if it hits, awesome. If it misses, he's fine. And there's no way... It's harder for people to avoid these bananas because there's no platforms to retreat to. You have to play Diddy's game of, I'm going to toss these bananas and kill you, right? And Charles just now described Meta Knight as a guy that controls the air. I see that as a jack of all trades kind of thing.
Irresistible.
If we look at some of this gameplay, we're gonna see things that you may not see on FD, and these are things that Meta Knight is particularly good at, and Meta Knight does better than other characters, right? Like Meta Knight can use this platform off stage better than other characters. He can fly from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage to catch up to that same platform, right? He's because he controls the air, that means he has better access to this platform than other people do. This stage element. He has better access to the stage element than other people do. So he can try to win the game better using the stage element. That is the mark of a jack of all trades character. And just like Fox, even though Meta Knight can work on FD, he would just prefer to not go there because there may be some elements that he could abuse on other stages that he would like to, right? Like Tree on PS1 is something that Fox could abuse. Platforms are things that Fox can abuse. Platforms and Scrooging are things that Meta Knight can abuse. Meta Knight could also probably abuse the PS1 transformations too in Brawl, now that I think about it. So this is all just to talk about the meta of stages. The meta of FD. Not what FD is, but like what leads to matches or like why people avoid matches on that stage. It essentially boils down to whether your character is a one-trick or if your character is a jack of all trades. There's a Reddit thread about tourney stage usage. It's about stage usage. If we look, 50 isn't even last place, by the way. Kalos is last place, but we could excuse that. We could say, oh well, Kalos isn't available on every stage list, right? Some tourneys have Kalos banned. Okay, cool. So let's ignore that. Smashville. Smashville has less usage than FD, and it's not even like FD isn't even particularly low, because first of all, Smashville has less than it, and Battlefield is not too far behind, right? FD has 5.2, Battlefield has 6.8. Both stages are available in like every rule set I can think of. But why are they so close together in usage, right? If FD is polarizing and people pick it less because so, then why is Battlefield also not being picked as much? Is it also polarizing? But, well, we talked about it earlier. Battlefield is pretty complicated. It's got 3 platforms. It's got platforms that are on different levels, different locations of the stage in terms of height and in terms of left and right, right? It's pretty complicated, so I wouldn't say it's a polarizing stage. Well, I feel like there's a point where things can wrap around and become polarizing again. And Battlefield is an example, right? Let's look at, let's see here, 1 second. Looking. So, even though we lambast, I think that's the right word, we lambast FD for being a polarizing stage, we don't talk about how... well, I didn't know that would happen. We don't talk about how Battlefield is a preferred stage for a lot of characters too, right? FD is polarizing because a lot of characters really like FD, but no one is talking about why Battlefield is loved by, like, by Falco. Battlefield is loved by Mario. Battlefield is loved by Me Brawler. right? There's a reason why Yoshi's story is banned, or at least banned in most places, right? It's actually more complicated than Battlefield, because now there's those platforms go even higher, and then the top blast zone is even lower, and then there's also slants, which complicate the game in another way, to the point where now it's like gone too far away from the simplicity of FD and has turned into like a new kind of polarization, where now certain characters really like these complications, these specific complications that are offered by Yoshi's story or Battlefield, right? Falco, like I said earlier, Falco's vertical is way better than other characters, so he can reach that top platform and make use of it better than other characters. Suddenly, this stage is polarizing because Falco really abuses the new dimensions that are added. Mario, Mii Brawler have combos that kill you now because they're good at reaching the top platform, and then they could kill from the top platform. Game & Watch usually can't kill with up air on any stage, but if he gets you on the top platform of Yoshi's story, and sometimes even Battlefield 2, now he can kill you from like up B up air. That's a thing. That happened to me. On Battlefield. I thought that could never happen on Battlefield. I thought that was only a Yoshi story thing, but it happened to me on Battlefield. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So instead of this is all just to say that in a meta sense, FD isn't an issue. Or at the very least, it's not more of an issue than like Battlefield or even Town could be, right? PS2 adds dimension in the horizontal sense, right? Compare FD with Stadium, right? Characters now are better on PS2 from these added dimensions because maybe they really like the extra length added. Sonic will like that if he wants to camp someone out. Characters that can corner carry other characters like it when a stage is longer, right? So like if you are Steve and you can corner carry someone with F tilt, you would actually prefer to do it on PS2 than you would on Smashville. Because in both cases, you get the corner carry, you go from all the way left to all the way right, but on Smashville, you just get less hits, right? You did less percent overall. You did less damage to them, right? But on PS2, you did more damage because you had to walk farther. You had to walk that dog farther on PS2, which means you got to hit that dog more and be the only guy playing the game for longer, which means you did more percent to them, and you probably now by the time you reach the corner of PS2, now when you finish this combo with a fair, now it's more likely to kill because they had more percent done on them, right? That's just an example of why distance could be something valued by someone, right? So let's talk about this simplification of everything. We've got one trick ponies and we've got jack of all trades characters, right? Let's talk about why someone would want to ban FD and why someone would want to go FD. Obviously, one tricks would want to go FD because, well, then they get to do their Kazuya 0 to death, or they get to shoot balls. And inversely, a jack of all trades would like to ban FD, right? I think Fox, Melee Fox, Brawl Meta Knight, I think Ultimate Mega Man would like to ban FD because these characters have traits that allow them to enter other dimensions of the game, to take advantage of other dimensions of the game. And if FD has the least amount of dimensions, then there's just like less for these jack of all trades characters to do, right? For these jack of all trades characters, the world is their oyster, so why the hell would they go FD? There's more of the world to explore on town and city, right? Like the name of the stage is town and a city, right? Like go out there and explore the world and avoid the final destination, right? So yeah. So in a set, it would make sense for someone who plays Mega Man, for instance, let's say Ult Mega Man, it would make sense for the Mega Man to ban FD. That's what I do. I do that like almost all the time. just because I like all these other dimensions that the other stages provide. And even though Mega Man can work on FD, I just think it would probably benefit my opponent more than it would me because of its simplicity. Because other people aren't jack of all trades characters like I am, right? So that's why I ban FD. Let's see here. 1 second. Just gathering my thoughts. Let's look at this. Right? This is Sonics versus Siski. Think about the sequence of events that led to FD being picked. It's because Sonics didn't ban FD, and then Siski takes him there. Think about why Sonics didn't ban FD. Sonics didn't ban FD because his character's strong on there. Even though I actually do consider Sonic more of a jack-of-all-trades character. The thing about jack-of-all-trades characters that I already mentioned a lot is that they can still work on FD. And Sonic, in particular, is a jack-of-all-trades that still works exceptionally well on FD. Right? He can be a jack-of-all-trades, or he could still just spin dash and that wins games. Right? Meanwhile, Samus is more of a one-trick pony than Sonic is. So it makes sense that Sonics doesn't ban FD, and it makes sense that Siski takes him there, right? Sonics didn't ban it because he's like, well, I still like FD, and then Siski takes him there because, well, my Samus really needs FD, like it needs it bad. And as it turns out, the guy that wins this match with a 2-stock is Siski. If we go all the way to the end, Siski wins in a 2-stock. The guy that's more of a one-trick just won on FD. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but this is just to show you how we got here. Okay? Sonic's won game 1, didn't ban FD for good reason. Siski takes him there for good reason. I feel like this is an example of like a totally fine scenario where both players can be fine with FD, both play out a match on FD, and it happens to go how you would expect it, right? But Sonics and Sonic both still like it, right? This is a totally fair game that happened. So why are people mad about FD? Here's another example of FD being chosen. These are two jack-of-all-trades characters. Now, I don't think bans happen in best of fives in Melee, but well, actually, if that's true, then that kind of invalidates this point. But Dittos are the easiest example that I can think of, where like stages don't matter at all, right? Because if it's a Ditto, you both have the same exact tools. FD should be a totally fine stage, as well as Battlefield, as well as PS1, as well as Fountain of Dreams, whatever. Like these stages don't matter. You guys make so much of a fuss over stages, when in Dittos, which happen all the time in Melee, by the way, it just doesn't matter. And then at that point, stage choice just comes to personal preference. So here's another example of FD being chosen. Akola won the last game. Wait, no. Akola did not win the last game. Mia won the last game over the Aegis. He just bears here, and that's it. Okay, so Mia wins. Mia bans stages, but he did not ban FD. And Akola, even though he plays a jack-of-all-trades character, he's still great on FD. So he just takes... And Mia probably didn't ban FD, because he's like, well, I'm more of a one-trick. I'm more of a one-trick than Steve. I would love to go to FD so that I can down smash you and then kill you at 50, right? This is... Them going to FD is a conscious choice by both players. Even though one of them is more of a one-trick, Akola still decides to take him there, because he's like, well, I can be a one-trick myself. And the guy that wins this match is... Let's see. It was a close match, but the winner ended up being Akola. So they were both completely fine with FD. They had a cool match on there. Well, I don't know if it was cool. I didn't actually watch it. But it was them deciding fairly and reasonably that they are both fine with FD. And so they went there and had a fair, reasonable match on it. Here's another match. So Ken just won game 4. And where does Hero take him? Mind you, Hero plays Bowser, and Ken plays Sonic. Where would you take Ken if you were the Bowser? Well, Hero took Ken to FD, right? If we perceive FD to be particularly strong for Sonic, why the hell did Hero take Sonic there? Well, maybe he considers himself more of a one-trick than Sonic is, which would be reasonable, right? Or maybe he's just like, well, I don't care what advantages you have. I'm just going to beat you on here. Which is based. And guess what happens? He does win. He wins in, like, the final minute of the match. Actually, no, that's a lie. He won final hit of the match. Very close scenario. He wins with, like, one of my favorite kills I've ever seen. What a beautiful kill. But that's besides the point. He won, going Bowser versus Sonic on FD, just because he knows what he wants to do. He knows how to kill people on FD, and he valued that more than what Sonic could do on FD. So often, we talk about playing your game, right? That quote. In Smash Ultimate, it's important that you play your game. We think about Sonic with Spin Dash. We think about Snake with Nades. We think about Rob with Gyro. We think about Diddy Banana, right? Play your game. Why the hell are we so scared about other people getting their advantages on FD? Why don't we, instead of like trying to defend against the other person's game, why don't we just play our game, right? So this is an attack on you, the viewer, or anyone else that thinks like this. This is why I put it in the title, why you are bad, right? It's because you guys focus too much on the defense of, I need to ban this stage because they are strong on it, when I think it would do you a lot to try to cultivate your game on FD or any stage for that matter. And that's what Ken did here. And that's what Frunk did here, right? Frunk lost game 1 as Pikachu versus as Kazuya. And then he's like, screw it, I'm going to take you to FD, and I'm going to Kazuya the Kazuya. Between these two characters, we all know that Kazuya is more of a one-trick than Pikachu, but you could still cultivate your game. You could still be the guy that's like, okay, screw your game, I'm going to play my game, I'm going to take you to FD because I know how to kill you on FD. And then boom, this actually didn't kill, but Frunk posted this clip anyways, so I guess Frunk is proud of it. And I use it here just to show the concept that it doesn't matter. Stages really don't matter as long as you're him, right? They really don't. Just be better. All you guys screaming about FD are not better. Let's think about this beautiful example that I pulled up. It's a very important set in the history of Smash. It is Zero versus Kamemushi. He now goes by Kameme. But this set was entirely played on FD. Game 1, FD, Diddy versus Mega Man. Game 2, Sheik versus Mega Man, FD. Game 3, this was only a 3-game set. Good job, Kameme. Once again, FD. And think about it. This is the battle of 2 one-tricks. These are characters. So I said earlier that I perceive Mega Man to be more of a jack of all trades. That's for Ultimate. In Ultimate, he's more of a jack of one trades. But in Smash 4, I would actually consider Mega Man closer to a one-trick. At least in comparison to Ultimate Mega Man. Reason being, he's got an infinite. This dude could cause you a combo you in Smash 4. He had a footstool infinite with Metal Blade. And that's what made him powerful, and that's what led to Kameme's success. He was really good at that combo. He did it often. I don't recall how often he got the 0 to death but he was able to get at least like mid% to death pretty frequently. In this set in particular, he got like, I think he got like 60 to death, 70 to death, whatever, right? He was able to successfully get the kills that this one-trick pony Mega Man in Smash 4 looks for more than anything else. And so why are they on this stage, right? Smash 4 had other stages. Smash 4 had Battlefield. Smash 4 had Smashville. Why are we on FD? Well, it's because Zero was like, I play Diddy and I play Sheik. I play characters that have projectiles that cover the entire ground. I'm going to play my game. I'm just going to cover the entire ground with a banana toss, and this guy has to deal with it, right? So every time, well, they combined, chose FD for game 1. Kameme happens to win this, and what does Zero, what does Kameme do? Kameme, because he is a one-trick pony, no, well, that sounded really negative. Because he plays a character that is more of a one-trick pony than others, he, of course, is not going to ban FD. He would like to go to FD, because he understands that he is strong there, right? And Zero, when he's counterpicking stage, he's like, okay, what's available? Oh, FD's available. Oh, I play Diddy and I play Sheik. They're really strong on FD for so-and-so reason. I'm gonna go here, right? So this is another example of just like this is top level Smash. This was Evo. This was losers finals of Evo. This was Zero, who was the best player of the game, right? And Kamemushi, who I think he ended up losing in Grands, but this guy put Mega Man on the map with this set, right? Like, this is how the West knew about Kamemushi. It's because he beat the best player in the world at the time. And how did they do it? Where did they do it? They did it on FD. They both chose FD because they both just want to play their game. And that's some real G shit, if you ask me. Instead of being like, oh, I don't want to go FD because Mega Man Quasia infinites me there, or oh, I don't want to go FD because I don't want to deal with Diddy Banana, Sheik, Needle, or anything like that. They're both like, let me just play my game. And that ended up being a 3-0 for Kameme, but it's not like these matches were total blowouts, right? Look, Diddy's in the lead. All Diddy has to do is just play his game a little better and he would win this. Like, you guys are too worried about stages. Just be a little better. So, what else do I want to talk about? Let me mention this, because in my research I found this little this montage for Kamemushi. Notice how most of this video is done on Smashville, which at times turns into FD, or it's just on FD, right? Pretty much this entire combo video is just Smashville when it's FD, or FD itself, which is so funny to me. It's like, wow, Kamemushi really had a game plan in mind when he chose these stages, and he really succeeded when he chose these stages because he executed his plan well on these stages, right? That's how simple the game can be. I'm taking like 30 minutes plus just to really say that it's all simple. You guys overcomplicate it and be better. And there's the combo, right? That wasn't an infinite, but that could be turned into an infinite. He could have killed Ramen from Zero here. He would have needed to pick up the blade while he did the pellet, and then Z-drop, and then footstool, and then pellet, Z-drop, footstool, pellet, whatever. He could turn it into a 0 to death. So yeah, pretty much this whole video is just FD and Smashville, which is so funny to me. That's the power of a one-trick. Kamemushi is great because he understood what was so particularly strong about Mega Man and went to that stage and just did it. He could do it on Battlefield too, but FD was better for it. And 1 second, let me look at my notes, because I did have to take notes, because I did realize that I would be spending way too long talking about this. My friend MD gave me an analogy of League pick and ban rates for characters. I respectfully disagree with this analogy because those are entire characters being banned, not stages, right? What I think is more close to an analogy that works for stages, for stage pick and ban rates in Smash, is the League rune system, right? Runes are just little character attributes that you can tweak to give yourself small advantages, right? So for those of you who have played League before, you know about runes. For those of you who have not played League before, let me show you runes. All they do is like plus 2% move speed for your character, plus 2% damage for your character, plus 2% HP for your character, stuff like that. Like just small tweaks. And that's what I think stage selection is. At the end of the day, you're just picking a stage that gives you these advantages for what you want to do specifically, right? If you play a character that wants to tank, and here, so essentially stages and runes, all stage selection and rune selection comes down to is you just need to figure out your game, right? I said earlier, play your game. Okay, what is your game, right? Once you figure out what your game is, then you just select the stage or the runes that best complement that or best enable that, right? Simple. If you're Kazuya and you want to zero death someone, I will choose this rune that helps me do it. And that rune's name is FD, right? If you play a character in League and your goal for that match is you want to tank, then you will choose the HP runes so that you can tank better. If you play a character in Smash and your goal for that match is you want to tank better, then you could pick Battlefield, you could pick Kalos, right? These are stages that help you tank better because they've got bigger blast zones, right? Higher top blast zones, wider side blast zones, more platforms for you to land on and avoid things, a walled edge so that you can tech a spike at the ledge, right? If you play a character in League and you want to go to more places on the map, then you may want to pick bonus move speed so that you can go to more places more often. And if you want to go to more places in Smash, then you would probably pick a stage that has more places, right? Like, well, Kalos has places that go off stage, and PS2 is a bigger place, has more platforms than FD, and Town has more places as well. It has platforms that go off stage, it has platforms that move and can take you to the blast zone, and it has an underside that you can traverse, right? Like there's no PS2 has a pillar under here. If you want to Scrooge as Meta Knight in Brawl, you can't do that on PS1, but you can do it on Smashville by going under the stage. Like there's so many considerations that people don't really think about, and it all just comes from they haven't really thought about what their play is, what their game is to begin with. You feel me? So, one second, let me refer to my notes again. I think this is a good video so far. Leave a like, leave a comment down below if you think it's a good video so far. So, here's another complaint that I heard from some people. And once again, I'm not attacking these guys. These guys are my friends. But this one. It's called a platform fighter for a reason. No platforms makes certain characters way stronger. Okay, so they talk about the polarization here, but the first thing they said, it's called a platform fighter for a reason. And that's sure, yeah, that's what it's called. Well, that's what some people call it. I think Sakurai actually calls it a like action game, right? And if we let me ask you this. If we play on FD, does that make Smash not a platformer? Does that make it not a platform fighter? It's still a platform fighter. We're just playing on a platformless stage, right? Like, us playing on FD does not suddenly make it Street Fighter. That doesn't strike the word platform from platform fighter and turn us into just fighter. No, we're still a platform fighter. There's just no platforms, bro. Like, it's really not that serious. And to be petty, if you guys want platforms so bad, you should unban Steve, because he makes platforms, and then we get to really play a platform fighter. And another thing, a lot of people say, oh, but it's a platform fighter. We need platforms. And then they'll go and play on platform stages and then complain that they get stuck on the platforms. Get good, bro. Get good, bro. In more ways than one, just get good. Let's see here. What should I play while I think of what next to say? We play that, we play this set. So, let me talk about comfort, because you could pick a stage because of its runes, right? Because of its stats that it gives you, and you would choose those runes because you figured out what your play is going to look like. You figured out what your game is, or you could just pick a stage because you're comfortable, right? Some people have figured out that it doesn't really matter what my runes are. I'm him. I know how to play my game regardless of stage, and I'm just gonna be better than you because I understand the macro better. I understand what my game is so well that it really doesn't matter what stage I'm on. And I feel like that level of comfort is valuable. Here's two top level players playing in grand finals. Wait, no, this isn't grands. This is winner semis. But this winner semis, they would then meet in grands anyways. But this winner semis match is played entirely on PS2. Spargo or Leo could have taken time between each game to like consider their rune page more, consider their game more, but they already get it so much, right? Have you ever gone into a league match with the wrong rune page, but you still won? Good job. You were him. You were him for that match. And that's what these guys are trying to do. They value their comfort so much that they're not even looking at the rune page. Just get me in there. Get me in the game. I know what to do from there on, right? I know how to play my game. And I think that's baller as well. It's baller when two people are both like, I'm super powerful on this stage. Let's both go here to a final destination and really see who's better. And I think it's really baller when two people just don't care because they know that they're both him and they both just want to play their game anyways. And then another example of that is here, Aklo versus Cody Schwab. Game 5, Nightclub. This whole set is just Battlefield. The whole thing. It's the Ditto anyways, so it matters even less, right? Cody could be super analytical and be like, okay, well, it's the Ditto, but I'm still better at these specific things than Aklo, so this stage will benefit me more than Aklo. He doesn't care. Because he's him, and Aklo is also him, and they both just go to Battlefield and settle it like some real men. So that's another example. And then third example, Spargo versus Light. This entire set, this entire Game 4, winners, it doesn't say, I think this is winner semis, winners quarters maybe, winners finals, I don't know. Oh, it's losers, holy crap. This is a loser set, best of 5, between Light and Spargo just months ago. The whole thing is small Battlefield, right? They're both him. They just go. They just play their game. So I think that's my final point for this video. Stages really don't matter. You guys don't even consider what your game is, right? You guys don't even know what stages are what runes, like what they do for you. I still hear so often people say incorrect things about stages, like, oh, like Hollow Bastion has like a lower ceiling, No, it doesn't. It has the same exact ceiling as FD, or like people don't realize that that Smashville and Town have the same blast zones, right? Except for the bottom blast zone, right? They have the same top and side blast zones, and people are like, oh yeah, like this is how they're different. No, it's the same thing, right? Like you guys really don't care that much, and that's that's why you suck. Now, if you take that further and you play your game, if you understand your game so much that then you don't care about stages, then that's baller. Even though both you guys and both these players don't care about stages, the way they don't care about it makes them baller, and the way you don't care about it makes you a scrub, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now on stages. It's a straight line, bro. It's inoffensive. Go there if you're a baller, or ban it if you're if you're a pussycat. Okay, having said that, I know I ban FD like all the time, but I'm actually gonna go to FD more often. I said earlier, I think Mega Man is a jack of all trades, but I think it's super beneficial for me to try and simplify things, take a step back, and realize, you know what, I could become a Kazuya on FD, just like what Frunk is doing here. Oops, sorry, wrong place. What Frunk is doing here, right? He's like, I know this is literally Kazuya that I'm fighting against, but I'm him, and I'm gonna go FD, and I'm gonna do to Kazuya what he wishes he could do to me. Boom, 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 right? This is what we should be striving for. Play your game. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.